Hi everybody, this is a video for the Behringer UFO 202 audio interface. It's a really neat little unit and it's inexpensive and it works pretty good. It comes in handy if you don't have a built-in preamp on your turntable to record your records into, because what it is this unit can record both line level signal and it can also record your phono turntable simply by plugging into it and then connecting the USB connector into your computer, and you can bring up your recording software and record all of your music using just this little device, and it works really nice. And it also has a little grounding plug on it so that you can ground your unit to something just in case your turntable has a little hum or buzz going on. But it works really good. This is the unit. This is the Behringer UFO 202. And you can see it's got input connectors on it. Nothing on the back, but just a printed label, but there it is. But this is a neat unit. Those are the input jacks. You have two stereo inputs and two stereo outputs, plus there's a switch and a grounding plug. So this unit actually works really good. So I'm going to plug in my turntable left and right inputs. These are directly from the turntable. There's one, and there's the other one. We're plugged in. Now all we have to do is plug in the USB cable and we're ready to go. There's the USB cable. It's just standard 2.0. That's all you really need for audio. So now that's plugged in. But let's go into the actual properties and make sure we've got everything set up for the turntable to work properly and be heard through our software. Okay, we're on my Windows computer. So first thing we want to do is go into the setup. So I'm going to go over here to our Windows logo, right mouse button click, and type in control. We click on run and then we type in control. This will bring up the control panel. And there it is. Now, what you want to look for is sound. And you got a big woofer there to indicate that you're into sound. Double click on that. There's our properties for the sound. Now, since we've got the UFO 202 hooked up, it's showing on here in playback right now. We're on the playback tab, but there's the USB audio codec. That means that we've got the UFO plugged up. But for playback sound from the unit, since we're not using the output jacks on the unit itself, we're just using the output from the USB input. This, you can see here, there's nothing going on here. But up here, I've got a Sound Blaster Audigy card. And that is being used for my sound output. And you can see the meters are moving a little bit over here. And there's a check by it, indicating that this is the sound output source for playback. Let's click on the record tab. In the record tab, this is where we set the USB unit from Behringer up. Now, it says microphone, don't let that bother you. It still says USB audio codec. That means that that's our Behringer. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this. Now we got it highlighted. You can see the input is working right there. But we're going to go into the properties, because when I first set this up, I couldn't hear anything. So there's the general setup. You can change the icon here, which is why I did. Normally it would be that microphone. I switched it off to the two RCA cables because it just looks more like what we've got hooked up to the USB unit, our Behringer. But it says microphone there. I can actually change that to Behringer if I want to, but I'll leave it like that for now. We don't have to get that picky, but you can set that if you want. We're going to click on the Listen tab. In the Listen tab, right now you can hear the output, because the Behringer represented by the two plugs over here, that's them there. And then we got an arrow pointing to where it's outputting to or listening. That's the little speaker. That's our sound blaster over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unclick this because I set this up ahead of time so it would actually work. But I'm going to unclick this and click apply, and my voice will disappear. Click apply, and I'm actually hearing my voice through my headphones as I'm recording this. So now we clicked apply, so we're good to go there. Now we want to keep in our setup in this properties window. The level for microphone doesn't matter because we're going to set that in our software. We're going to use Audacity to record the sound for the demonstration of recording an album so that you can see how the UFO 202 works. So we can set that from within Audacity and it will affect this here just like it would inside the software. We click the advanced tab. In this tab, if I click restore default, click apply, look at what it says. One channel, 16-bit, 48,000 hertz DVD quality. Well, if we do that, we're going to get everything in mono when we start recording our album. And we don't want that. So you want to click on the down arrow. Go in here and look for 2-channel, 16-bit, 44,100 hertz CD quality. That's the standard for audio. So we got that set. Now we're going to get stereo recordings from our album. Click apply. The device is being used by another. We can ignore that. Everything's set here. We can see we still got meter movement. If we click the apply, we still got meter movement there. We know we're good to go. Click OK. And then we can close the control panel. Now, we can go in to Audacity and set that up because we got to set our levels for the vinyl album that we're going to record. So I'll click the Audacity. Audacity is free off the internet, by the way. And it's really handy because it's got a lot of nice features to it, and it lets you record audio from various sound sources like line level signals, mic signals, and things like that. Chop things up, but you'll see how it works here in a minute. We can close this splash box. We are now in Audacity. So here's what they want to do. With Audacity, it's pretty simple. Over here, what we want to do, first thing right off the bat, is go into our audio setup. And we're going to set playback device. Right now it's set for the Microsoft Sound Mapper, which works really well because it picks whatever the default setting was made in our control panel, which we've already set up. So I'm actually going to leave that alone just like it is. Now, we'll come over here. Recording device. We want to come in and we want to make sure that we have this set for microphone because it says USB audio codec just like it did in control panel. So we got that selected and it closes, but we can go back and double check. There it is. Now that is set. Now here's our input VU meter right here. Here is our playback output VU meter right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the volume over here. And as you can see, as I move this up and down, you can see my voice is going up and down. Loud, loud, down, down. So as I move this, you can see I am actually recording. And you were probably thinking, wait, his voice is fading. I'm moving the record level. Alright, we're set at 50%, which would be good starting place because we don't want it too loud, we don't want it too soft. Now my voice might be down a little bit in volume as you're listening to it, but we'll get that readjusted here in a minute. Right now, let's go over and click pause. Because when I click on this button here, the red dot, that's going to put us in record mode. Once we go into record mode, we don't want the thing to just to start flying and recording right off the bat, because I want to get to my turntable to actually drop the needle for the recording. So I'll hit the pause. But watch what happens when I hit record. It brings up our VU meters over here on the top, and you can see I've got a pretty strong signal coming in right now, but it's still a little low, and we can adjust that. And over here, you see we open up a track view. This track view is in stereo, because you can see we got two segments here. So what we're going to do is we're now going to test the signal strength level of the phono coming in, and I'll adjust it with our control up here. Right now we're at 50%. Let me go over here. By the way, we're recording the Manhattan Transfer album from 1981. It's the best of Manhattan Transfer. They actually don't even have this particular Best of Manhattan Transfer album out for you to buy. At least it's considered a classic now, because they've added to their volume of work. So this one came out in 1981, so they've actually got a new Best of Manhattan Transfer album out that has even more songs on it. But let's set the volume level. So I'll drop the needle so we can test. Here he comes.
There's a place
Let me turn it up a little bit.
go to dance the night away. It's a junction, everybody, with a time for me. At each function, it happens every year.
We go right there. Let's try a little bit more up-tempo so we can check.
With a key, you unlock a door to imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sight. A dimension of sound. A dimension of mind. You're moving through a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas.
That's not bad.
Guiding you through
I'm going to leave it right there.
this journey is the hypnotic sound of the twilight zone.
When I hear this melody, this
Well,
strange
let's move it up a little bit.
through a tunnel of the mind, perhaps a present or future time. Whoa, out of nowhere comes the sound, this melody that keeps spinning round. Hear a metal locomotive.
I think I'm going to leave it right there. So we're at, let me put my mouse on top of the button. We're at 74%. Oh, there's one more way in which you can set the volume. You can double click on the little control slider, and it'll open this up as well. So we can see we're at 73%, and we can move this down. And we can move it back up, just like we did doing it the other way. And you can even bring it down like that if you want. So it's just an option. You can also just direct dial 74. Hit enter, and we're back to where we were before, and we're at 74%. I'm going to leave this right here as far as the volume level goes, because I don't want it to be too hot, because if it distorts, well, then we've kind of messed up the recording, and you can hear it, and then you'll say, oh shoot, I went and recorded that too hot. Because the neat thing about Audacity, we get a nice strong signal, but not too hot. If it's a little low, we can always raise it using our editing functions afterwards, and it'll sound great. But the main thing is to get it up around, -6, -4 dB. It's about as hot as you need to go. Right now, I'm My voice is pegging in at about -12. The music was at about -6, which works real good. Alright, now let's go ahead and set the record back so we can drop the needle on the first song and begin. Alright, now I'm going to cue my microphone so that we can get a just purely all phono recording. So I'll start the recording on this, and then as it's recording, I'll stop and pick it up after I've recorded all the tracks on both sides of the album, and then we'll edit. So I'll see you in a little bit, but let me drop the needle.
Get up and dance with us.
Okay, I went through and recorded both sides A and B. Here they are right here, represented by these squiggly lines on the screen. It looks kind of like an EKG for your heart when you go to the doctor and you see that readout. Kind of looks like that. But this is side A and this is side B. So, since I got this recorded, what I did is I recorded each side, I labeled them. In Audacity, it's real simple. Come up here, click on that down arrow, rename track. I named this one Manhattan Transfer Side 1. And since I named it, I don't need to save it again. And then the same thing down here. Manhattan Transfer Side 2. I got both of these named. But now, since I've got these recorded in, I want to optimize the record level to where I like it to be. So what I'm going to do, when you notice, as I click on this bar over here on the left, that turned white all around those squiggly lines. Come down here, do it on this one turns white. So what I want to do is I'm going to come up here to track, to side A, come up here to Audacity, Effect, Volume and Compression, Amplify. Right now, amplification, if I were to apply it, it would be set for 0 dB, which is the maximum level that you get before you start going into distortion. But it has new peak amplification down here, or amplitude down here. I'm going to set this at minus 2.0 dB and apply it. Watch this drop. Just a little bit. It went down. The reason why I don't want the signal to be too hot, because I can listen to it.
Here in the twilight.
You notice over here,
In the twilight.
you notice that the little blue bars right there, they jumped up to just below 0 because it's at minus 2 dB. So that's basically at the hottest point that you'll have sound. So I did track A, and I like that because that gave me what I want. Because you don't want to go through the problem of recording the music and then you don't have the level set to optimum to listen back. And I like to go minus 2 dB just to keep it from being too hot. Because if need be, you could always change it if you want it, but that's usually a nice, safe level. Now, I highlighted the second side track, and we'll go effect again. Now, we can go volume and compression, amplify, or, since we're going to do the same thing again, I can actually go repeat amplify, but just for the benefit, let's go volume and compression, amplify. Minus 2 dB, minus 2.0, apply. Watch it drop. Okay, we've got our volume set at -2 dB on both sides A and B. So we got the consistency because the album is already balanced by the engineers who produced the album in the first place. So now we need to save the audio files because what it is we can come up here to File and we can click Save Project. But if we do that, all it's going to do is save the actions that we took in editing the audio files, but it's not going to save those audio files. We need to export those audio files. You'll find this happens with video and photographs as well. The material gets saved separately. The file just saves all of the actions and edits that you made to the material. And in this case, our material is audio. So I'm going to come down to Export Audio. The file name right now, it says Manhattan Transfer Side 1. That's fine. So we're going to come over here to the folder. I'm going to choose Browse. And I've got, let me back out one. I've got a folder right here. Album, both sides. I'm going to double click on that. And I'm going to click Save. Now, that locks the folder destination in place. Make sure you do that because you don't want to accidentally just go and skip over that and save, and then you're going, oh, where did I save it to? Then you got to go to your My Documents, which is usually the default location, and it'll probably end up being in your My Documents either as a My Music file, or it might, Audacity might have created a file folder for you, but you don't want to run that risk anyway. You want to pick it yourself. So we did that. All right, now we want to come over here to Format. We're going to select WAV format, which is already there. But we do have other options here like MP3 format and FLAC and OGG and Vorbis. But we're on a Windows computer with Microsoft. So we're going to save it as Microsoft WAV. This is an uncompressed file format which will give us the full 44,100 hertz stereo sound. So we've got our format. Come over here. It says channels. We got mono, stereo, and we also have custom. We want to set it for stereo because that's what we want. That's what we recorded it as. That's what's on the screen over here. Leave it in stereo. So make sure that's clicked. There's a sample rate, which we set up in the control panel. There are other sampling rates that we can use, but 44,100 hertz gives us a nice quality sound, which is also CD standard. If you go below that, you're going to pick up grit and grain. It's going to sound kind of funky, and we don't want to do that. The WAV file should be pure as possible, and then you can monkey around with different file formats afterwards. But for right now, signed 16-bit PCM. Now, it says entire project, which is automatically there, but we've got a side A and side B, so we're going to go multiple files. And as you see, it expanded the box down a little bit. If we went entire project, it's not there, but we want to go multiple files. Over here, we're going to go for using labels, track name, because we named both of them. Now we can just click export. It is now exporting side 1, exporting side 2. And this happens pretty quick. It doesn't take a real long time. There they are. It shows the location and the folder that it saved them to. The directory path. Right there. Side 1, side 2. Okay? Now we've got it set. I am actually going to go and check. There they are. Because we're into album, both sides. And there they go. I'll hit my control panel. Hit the plus button, expand it out. We can see the full title. We got them. Now, since we got them, I'm going to close side 2. because we already got it saved, backed up. Come over here to side 1. Let's start chopping up these tracks. First thing we want to do is separate the tracks, which is real easy with Audacity. What we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to go in a little bit. Hit my magnifying glass up here for plus, and then you can also shrink it back down, or you can see the whole thing like that, or like that. So you can actually see the whole sample file or go in. And we're going in. Grab my scroll bar down here. Moves left and right. First thing we need to do is come over here to the beginning. So I'll hit this arrow with the stick in front of it. That's going to take us to the start. This one takes us to the end. This one takes us to the start. And I'm going to listen. That's a pretty close needle drop there. It works pretty good. Wow, I like that. But let's say it was a little off, or we want to trim a little bit off. We're back at the beginning. We can just go plus. We can zoom in as close as we need to. And then you can see the cursor. But you know what? That is perfect. I've done needle drops in the past, and you probably will too, that have been, you get a big moment of silence in the front and then you chop it out. But this works good. So I'm not even going to mess with that. Let's back out a little bit. Come over here, grab our, let me back out a little bit more. There. Now, this is our second song. We can literally, with Audacity, there's two ways to locate where you're at. If I use the timeline, because you can see this is actually in minutes. If I put it on the timeline and click the arrow, it starts playing automatically. I can back up.
He has the finest penthouse I've ever.
Now, let's suppose we don't want it to play automatic. Click right on top of the WAV file. There. Now we got our black line and it's solid. But you notice it didn't play automatically. We click play. All right. Not bad. Let's see. Let's zoom in just a little bit. There. And let's look at it. Because what we want, since this is a vinyl album, we want to maintain that natural vinyl surface noise in between songs, because we got a silence that comes here because we can see where it fades out. So we want to follow that silence to right before. So we can use our right mouse button arrow and move the cursor. If we go too far, use the left. Back it up. But we want to find that just right sweet spot about a second before the music starts. And that's going to become our reference point for the beginning of the song on the next track here. So let's hit play. That's a little long. Let's move it up a notch. That's not bad. Let's play with it. One more hit. To the right. I think that might be it. Yeah. I like that. Our clock down here has us at 3:07. So we can just remember that for when we come back to it to start. But now, we've got this marker set. So to get our first track selected, move your mouse up. Put it right on top of that black line. You see how you get that little arrow with a stick? Grab hold of your left mouse button, click down on it. Drag it back. There we go. Now we can drag anywhere. And if we let go, it stops at that highlight point. If it's not the right spot, move it back, move it forward. Just click on it. just move your mouse up. Put it right at the end of that white point. There's your stick again. Move it on down. Now we got it. So now, if I back out, there, you can see we got that whole track, number 1, selected. Let's come up here. Edit. Copy. Now we've got a copy. Now down here in the gray area, we need to create a new track. So we're going to come over here to our toolbar on the top of Audacity, click Tracks, Add New. Sorry, I keep jumping off of it. Stereo track. We got a stereo recording, so we want a stereo track. There. It gave us a new track. I can click on the bar. It doesn't matter that I just lost a highlight. We copied it. So I click on this handle over here on the left, come up, edit, paste. There's track number 1. I'm going to hit solo. Take it back to the beginning and click play. Let's move on the timeline. We got it. All right. Now, that's Tuxedo Junction. So, here's what I'm going to do. Since these are tracks, put a number 1 space. Did I get it? Oop, I ran the words together. Arrow key. No problem. There. Tuxedo Junction. Okay? That track is now labeled and ready to go. Turn the solo off. Because you notice when I hit the solo, this grayed out, which means you can't hear it. And it'll do that to any track whenever you hit solo. But if I hit solo on this one and this one, they both light up because Audacity thinks, oh, he wants to hear these 2 tracks in combination. Because if you had, let's say, this track was just narration, and you had a sound effect down here or something like that, or some music for this particular set of narration, you could hit solo on both of those segments, and if you had other tracks down here, you wouldn't hear them. This would let you hear just the narration and the sound effect or music underneath. But let's hit solo and unsolo that track, unsolo that one, and mute track number 1, because we got it. Now, we're going to leave this intact because there's no need to physically chop this up. It's much safer to solo. Then that way you don't have to worry about going on through levels of undo, because you grab the tracks and you separated them, and then, oh shoot, I did this one twice, but I didn't do the other one. Now where's the other track? You don't have all that confusion. Just copy and paste new tracks as you go. Now, here's our second song. We're going to do one more. Let's find the beginning. You can also hit your space bar to play. That's good timing. Let's check that. I'm going to move it ahead just a notch. 1 to the right. Yep, I like that. All right, get our cursor. Lay it on the black line, move it on back. Now, we were at 307, which is right there. And since these 2, I'll unsolo it for a second. Since these 2 tracks just happen to be at the same marker, because that was a copy point, we get a yellow line. That yellow line can actually help you to line stuff up to match, because it gives us a perfect match at 307. And muted or not, that little yellow bar is there. But we got it highlighted. Once again, we can come up here and we can do copy, or we can hold down Control key, hit the letter C, which is copy as well. Because Audacity lets you use shortcut keys. All right, we got it copied. We need a new track. Now I can come up here, click Add New Track, Stereo Track, but I can come down here to the gray space, do a right mouse button click, Add Stereo Track. In a way, that's kind of faster. Now, this isn't highlighted anymore, but it doesn't matter. Click the handle on the left and Control V for paste. Boom, there it is. There's the track. Come back to the beginning. There it is. I can solo it. We'll go to the beginning. Play.
There's more hassle. Talking about the boy, greater amazing.
There it goes, fading out.
Talking about the boy from New York City.
So we got it. Now, I'm just going to do the 2 tracks, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to edit up all the other tracks so we can jump ahead to the export process and converting them to MP3 files. I'll close this out, and I'm going to show you the edited tracks so we can take a look at that. So I can close this and this and this. All right, now let's go up to File, Import, Audio. Widen that out just a little bit. Hold down my Control key. Plus button. There. Now, all the tracks, just like we edited them up, are there. I'm going to click on the top track and then hold the Shift key. Click the bottom track. That gives us all 12 tracks, both sides, 1 and 2, open. Takes a couple seconds. And there they are. All the tracks, all 12. And you can see one each. See them all there, edited, ready to go. And what I did was I went ahead and I did the export on these as WAV files because I showed you how to export sides A and B, so I figured I won't be overly redundant and show you how to export again with the WAV files. But we do, now that we've got everything edited and exported as WAV files, we need to get to the MP3 portion of this. So we go File, Export Audio. This comes up. Now, it's set right now where we want it, which is our vinyl project. But here, format, MP3 files. We got that set. So now we got the folder, we got MP3 format file, still keep it in stereo channels, sampling rate stays the same, preset, our bit rate, we got variable, average, constant, and preset. I'm going to leave it at preset because I found that works really good. Now, quality. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something that I'm real big on now, and I have been for several years, and I'm sure there's other audio people who do recording all the time that are big on this. When you set your quality, go for the highest quality. Now, you can see we've got standard quality for our MP3 files, 170 to 210. Medium is 145 to 185. Extreme is 220 to 260 kilobits per second. And insane is 320 kilobits per second. Always go around 300 kilobits per second. If you're using software to let you go a little higher, go for that. But 320 is a good level to be at, because then you don't have all that goofy little swirly sounds. Because I'm sure you've probably heard some files on the internet, maybe on YouTube or something like that, and you're listening to an audio file of a recording, and you get that swirly kind of sound like it's being twirled around in a tube or something like that. You don't want that. That's what you get when you encode your files at too low of a level. So I like to go 320 kilobits per second because it eliminates all of those little goofy artifacts and things like that and that nasty, funky, swirly sound. Alright, now, export range. Once again, multiple files. We don't want just one big hunk of a audio file, because that's what we would get. It would look like side A and side B when we first recorded the album. So we always want to select multiple files, and then we're going to split those files based off of tracks. Over here we'll do naming convention, name files using the labels and track name. Click export. Now this is going to take a minute because it's compressing those WAV files now. So we're going to jump ahead, and I'll come back after the WAV files have all been saved as MP3 files, and we'll go from there. Alright, successfully exported the following 12 files. And there they are. Destination, everything. We're all set. Click OK. We are literally done. Now, what we can do, since we're just doing a very simple project, if you were to save this project, it would come up and tell you that the only thing that gets saved is all the edits that you do. The actual files, be they WAV or MP3 or whatever audio file you're working on, has to be exported in order for it to stay intact. Because if you just save it by clicking on File, Save Project, it says Save Project is for an Audacity project, not an audio file. For an audio file that will open in other apps, use export. So since we've basically done everything, and if we need to go back in to tweak any of these files, we can save if we want, or just click cancel. The saving of files is if you did something that required a lot of editing, it was a big project, and you needed to step away from it because you had to go do something else and close Audacity, you would click OK and save the file, because we can still click OK and it'll give us a place to save. And I'm just going to click test save because it really doesn't matter, because I'm just saving it for the heck of it. There, it saved it as test and save. But since we're just working with WAV files and we got them the way we want them, we can just close all the files, or we can just close Audacity altogether. It's compacting the project. And it's reading everything out. And it's about to close. Okay, Audacity is just closed. There's all our MP3 files. We got them all in one location. Let's do a quick quality check, and we'll click on one and listen to them in VLC. Let's skip to the middle. We'll just skip a few times, then we'll skip to the end just to check the quality. And there we go. Let's do another one. Let's see. I'll try Twilight Zone. Yep, the quality is there. As you can hear, that's pretty good. So, we've got all our VLC listening tests, because you can go through every song if you want, just to make sure you got them right. I've already kind of checked these out, and they're ready to go. So now all you have to do is take these MP3 files and save them onto, you can leave them on your computer, on your hard drive, in case you listen to them on your media player, or you can save them on a thumb drive, carry them with you, play it in your car, because a lot of cars use thumb drives, Bluetooth it from your phone or your tablet to your whatever listening device you have. But the files are set. And then, of course, you just do a backup onto a portable hard drive or thumb drive for safekeeping. And then you can have, of course, a copy on your computer to listen to at your convenience while you're working on your computer. But that's how you do the setup and recording and editing of an album to save as MP3 files. This same technique will also work if you're using a tape deck. Let's say you got some cassette tapes with recordings of, say, you got your grandpa, and he's got some old war stories back from when he was in the war and all that kind of stuff, or whatever. And you got it on cassette. If you still got the cassette and you can get your hands on a tape deck, you can literally go line level into the UFO 202 and record into Audacity or whatever recording software you want to use. It works great.